'Cause my monsters are real, and that train had a kill, and there's no coming back, and they just laugh at how I feel.
Talking with Dave here at Warehouse Billiards, who is the owner and manager here. Tell us about yourself a little bit.
I've been in the industry now for 38 years. I started when I was 13 playing, in the little backwoods bars, and my aunt was a bartender, and so at a very young age, my babysitter became the pool table, and so 38 years later, it's kind of evolved to what it is.
Yeah. What made you want to own or get into managing a pool room?
The retirement plan. Honestly, I mean, this is what I enjoy doing. This is what I've enjoyed doing my entire life. Now, granted, I've stayed in the amusements industry since the time I was 17. A brief stint in the Navy and some other things, but for the most part, in the amusements industry, pool tables, jukeboxes, skill games, and other games of that nature. So for me, the transition to go to a pool hall was kind of like a life's dream. I've been general manager of several pool halls, and I've had several pool halls across the state. And this was just kind of like the end game plan: make something special, make it last, and try to present an idea that's duplicatable.
Well, thank you for serving in the military.
Oh, thank you, sir.
We respect all of our military very much. Is there a certain player that made you fall in love with the game of billiards?
Honestly, it was never a professional. It was a guy by the name of George Casey. He played out of Guys and Dolls, and the guy was just such a character, such a precision artist of the game. He was a gambler, a good friend, but through his eyes, I was able to see the history through, say, 50 years of billiards through his eyes, and a lot of conversations and a lot of backroom pool talks that we had really contributed to me just really wanting to continue to step up. He had faith in my game. I mean, there was another gentleman that went by the name of Pike County. He had a lot of faith in my game. Of course, that was back when gambling was really hot and heavy. So he became my backer. And so I had two people between those two guys that had faith in me and my game and appreciated the fact that I loved the game, because it was kind of like what took care of me for so many years.
I understand. So I know you guys have a website, warehousebilliards.com. What is something that you would want somebody that sees this interview to know about Warehouse that they can't find online?
Personable experience. We have an absolutely fantastic staff that devotes themselves to every single customer. They're extremely knowledgeable. We bring something to the game that a lot of people don't. If we don't have it, we will try to get it for you. If we don't know, we'll get you the answer. But our technicians are top notch, and our service is through the roof. We've had a great run in the valley, and through expansion, we've been able to expand ourselves to a 90-mile radius. So we're hitting parts of West Virginia, North Carolina. We even travel to Myrtle Beach. Just depending on the customer. We have some who pretty much demand that we be their service provider. So, but through the experience of owning the retail store, having the amusements business, and now with the sports bar and grill, it's kind of the trifecta that feeds everything. And we expect nothing but future expansion and trying to build the game for the customer. More of these facilities are planned to come. They may be smaller facilities. They may be practice facilities, 24-hour facilities like gyms, but we're trying to expand the game, not just because it's the right thing to do. It's because we've got a lot of people who this is what they depend on now, is for their solace, for their escape. And anybody can do the sport. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to be tall. You don't have to, be anything special. You just have to devote yourself to a game and learn, and you can be great. And And so that was my babysitter when I was 13, and it's still my babysitter now.
That's awesome. Now, how many sponsored players do you guys have on your roster?
Currently, right now, we have Ariana Houston. She's sponsored with Predator currently. We have several players that have recently acquired sponsorship through Predator that do play out of the facility every now and then, but they do have another home bar that they call home. But as far as like the promotion of our general area, we expect that there's going to be a lot more sponsored players come out of the area. At one point in time, Roanoke was the hotbed of world champions. Now, granted, that was a long time ago, and we've got some making up to do. But I don't see any reason why this area can't produce a lot more champions and really take the sport to the next level, because that's what we here focus more on, is the sport aspect of the game.
Now, what does it mean to you as the owner to have these sponsored players go and play in other tournaments and support you and talk about your?
Oh, I mean, whether they play for me or not, I mean, of course, I've got my favorites. I can't help but root on every single one of them. There's players that I haven't even met, but I've learned to know who they are through social media and through their friends, and I root for those guys too. I mean, the junior players right now are really where it's at, because it's the future of the sport. So I'm not necessarily focused as much on the aspect of having adult sponsored players. Now, we will probably have a couple here very shortly, and I'm hoping to soon announce that.
Okay.
But as far as the future is the youth. And so that's what, my main focus is to make sure we have that next level of growth coming up, so we have that next generation of players.
Definitely. And I agree with you. Like, that's one of the things I told you as we spoke off camera, that not many people talk about pool in this area, and there's so much talent in the youth that's not getting recognized. And that's one of the reasons I started gearing the podcast towards pool, because I want to help those players get recognized.
Yes.
That's the main thing, and I love it, and I love the game, and I've been a fan of this game for a long time now. How many tournaments do you guys typically run out of Warehouse? I know you guys have league nights.
Currently we're running leagues 5 nights out of the week. And then on Friday and Saturdays, we do have the 9-ball open on Fridays, which is open to anybody semi-pro and below. We've got great breaking runs. I know that, they haven't been winning many of them, but, sometimes the draw is what gets you. We've had, some great talent come from all over the state, from other states. And I've had some instances where a gentleman came from Alabama just to play in the tournament. He knew he was going to be driving his truck by, saw the tournament, and he's like, hey, I'm going to check it out. He didn't finish. I mean, he got 4th. I mean, but it's something that, most folks, don't take into consideration, that when you have the open tournaments, a lot of people feel like they don't have a chance. But literally, it really kind of comes down to the bracket draw. Even the mid-mediocre players still have a chance, and even last night proved that. I mean, we had a couple players that weren't the top tier, but they finished top tier. Then we've got the Saturday chip tournament that is the 8-ball. That's open to everybody based on skill level. And we've got great crowds generating from that as well. And so the overall response has been hugely positive, especially with the youth. I mean, a lot of times in our tournaments on Saturday, we'll have 6 or 7 of the youth that are playing in the tournament as well, which is just hugely inspiring.
Yeah. So we are in 2026. Where do you see yourself and Warehouse Billiards, say, in 2030?
In 2030, I kind of fully expect us to be a brand. We're working in conjunction with Predator and some other major sponsors to duplicate this facility in other cities and other mid-markets. And Las Vegas is not out of the question. So we're just planning a slow, organized growth that we know will contribute to the areas as necessary. Of course, we're not going to go try to compete with every pool hall that's already in doing great business. We're going to try to reach those markets that just aren't being reached right now.
I got you. Well, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We look forward to talking to you more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We just want to thank you guys for listening to the S&D podcast today. We just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Just remember, you can check us out on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. And we look forward to talking to you guys in our next episode. Yes, sir.